I am here to talk to you about compassionate management. It is a management methodology that I am completely passionate about. So first I want to start with a story. So here I teach this thing called compassionate management, where we replace fear with compassion as a business tool. And this company, a small company, about 20 people company, the company owner wooed me to join her company. I was very excited. She said, "We need compassion. The way the business is going, we need what you do. Can you come join us?" So I said, absolutely, this is very exciting. About a month into the job, she and I, the owner and I, had sat down and talked about what is her vision for the company, what is she intending to do, how does she want to grow it, all of that. And there were a few topics that some staff members really wanted to change, and that she didn't. The topics themselves aren't relevant to this conversation. I said, okay, that makes sense. It's your company. We do what you want with the company. It was ethical, didn't hurt anybody, that's fine. So we had this full-day conference about a month into the job, and she's leading one workshop, and I'm leading another workshop, and someone else is leading another workshop. And in my workshop, there are about 50 attendees, and sure enough, somebody in there raises her hand and brings up one of the not supposed to bring up topics. So I very diplomatically said, I have compassion for why you want to talk about it. This isn't the time or place. Let's move the conversation along. And I held the rest of the attendees accountable for staying on topic. It was a great meeting. I thought people even approached me after and said, that was so great. Thanks for keeping us on target. It was really fun. I walk out of the meeting and I find the company owner and I say, hey, FYI, this is what went on. And she says, oh, okay. I explained to her how I handled it. She said, okay. We went on to our next workshops and sessions. At the end of the day, she pulls me aside and says, actually, you were wrong. You were wrong, Rena, in how you handled that. In fact, and she took out her finger, you know that finger? You should have shut her down. You should have shamed her publicly. Verbatim. So I had an out-of-body experience. And I thought, first of all, I need to find a new job. But besides that, I had this out-of-body experience where I had two completely conflicting and coexisting thoughts. One was rage. How dare she think that I'm going to shame anyone publicly or privately at all? And on the other hand, I totally understood where she was coming from, because I was taught fear-based management also. Anyone in this room ever been yelled at work? Okay, there are a lot of hands, yes. And all the hands, all the feet, right? Anybody in this room ever feel that if they didn't jump like a bunny and do exactly what was asked of them, they wouldn't get the promotion, they wouldn't get the project, they wouldn't get the increase in the salary? Yeah? So many. This is fear-based management, where fear is used to make people do what you want them to do. Now, this is very effective short term. What happens with fear-based management is it's a churn and burn. It's not sustainable. So I want to take a step back for a second and explain to you why it is that I understood what this company owner was experiencing. She knew nothing else. I know this because I used to be like that. For the first 6 years of managing, all I had experienced was fear-based management. Now that term never existed, at least not in my world, and I didn't know anything else. So I thought, this is the way you manage. So I did it, and I was a bully, and I was intimidating. I'm short, but I can be intimidating, let me tell you. And I'd come over and say, did you get it done? Is it done? Are you done? I didn't feel good and I didn't enjoy it, but I thought, you know what, I want to rise up the ladder. I want to have a strong, powerful career. This is what you got to do, right? Because that's all I saw. And then 9/11 happened. Anybody reassess their life after 9/11? It turns out that the study that I looked up, 58% of Americans changed how they live their lives after 9/11. I'm definitely one of that 58%, because what I did was I went home and I thought to myself, oh my God, I am so grateful to be alive. I was in New York City on that day, and I am so grateful to be alive. What am I going to do with the rest of my time? I've been given a second chance. I think that's how most people felt, whether you worked in New York City or not, or lived in New York City. And what am I going to do with this second chance? And I had just begun meditating, and I sat there and I was meditating. You know, you watch the thoughts go by, and you're supposed to not think about anything and watch the thoughts. And I was doing that, and I had this epiphany that my whole working career, I had been shoving down my true nature. I am, by nature, extremely empathetic, outstandingly sensitive, and intense. And these qualities are not valued in corporate America. Anyone, does that resonate? Yeah, exactly. And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm alive, and I'm delighted that I'm rising up the ladder, but I am not proud of who I am and how I'm working with people. So I'm going to shift this, and I'm going to just show up. I'm going to throw out everything I've learned about management, because I don't like 99% of it. And I'm going to just show up as me, and let's see what happens. Because if, God forbid, I had been on one of the planes or in one of those buildings, as I was dying, I wouldn't be thinking, gee, I can't believe I didn't reach executive VP. I'd be thinking, what a jerk I was. And so I walked into the office, and you can imagine the office, right? Everybody's tense. Sales are down. Are we going to lose our jobs? Is the company going to go under? What's going to happen? So the tension was like you could cut it with a knife. And I was responsible for the operational efficiency of this 150-person team. And I walked in and I said, hey, how may I help you? Because I decided that will make me feel better, is to help people. I don't know how this is going to go down. I don't know how it's going to work. But it's going to make me feel better. And you know what? It's time for me to show up and take care of me. So I said, how may I help you? And the first person went, no, I'm fine. And I thought, oh my God, I must have been awful. Because I was. And I kept saying, how may I help you? And how may I help you? And what do you need to get that done? And people started to relax a little bit. Now, I want to be very clear. Compassionate management is not being a doormat. It's not saying, what do you need? Oh, take as much time as you want. No, it is, what do you need to get that done by 3 o'clock? I'll help you get it. Hey, we have a rush project. It's got to be done by 5:15 today. What do you need to get it done? I'll get it for you. It's holding somebody accountable with compassion. Imagine you're giving somebody a performance review, okay? They're crummy, they're not doing well. You gotta give them that counseling conversation of, listen, these 3 things need to change or you're out the door. You have 2 choices. The way it was always done in my experience in fear-based management, yo, turn it, change it, or you're out of here. And you're like, change what? I don't understand. What are you actually asking of me? And you know what else? I can't even hear you because your tone of voice is so nasty. I can't even hear what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the other option, which is, listen, we've had this conversation 6 or 7 times. I've been very clear with you that these 3 things need to change. I'm going to be super specific one more time because I don't want to have to fire you. I really don't. But I will if you don't turn it around, because what you're doing is limiting the rest of the team's ability to do their job. Compassion and accountability. These are the tools that actually make a business run more efficiently. So you're all sitting here going, yeah, compassion and accountability. She's so cute, she's all touchy-feely. Let's talk numbers, okay? Hard cash. You with me? On average, it costs 50 to 75% of one person's salary to replace that one person. So in that churn and burn environment of fear-based management, where you either have the talent fleeing or you have the non-talent staying and doing a lower level, below mediocre job, which one do you want? You want the good people to stay, right? But if you have this churn and burn mentality, And management style. Let's say on average, 10 people or so leave a year, okay? That's really conservative. And let's stick with the conservative 50% of a person's salary to replace them. We won't even go to the 75%. And let's say on average, those 10 people earn about $70,000 each. Do the math, $350,000 of avoidable expense to your company. In addition, you've lost the institutional history, you've lost the relationships that that person had built, the connections, you know, that communication that expedites productivity when people get to know and work with each other, that's gone. You've lost their actual talent, and let's not forget the damage to the reputation of your company. Anyone ever hear of Glassdoor.com? All you have to do these days is go this. Oh, I'm looking for a job. Oh, I see that company. Let me look it up. Oh, I'm not going to work there. You go on Glassdoor.com and you get the down dirty on the company. And let's talk about how many people are making tons of money working from their computers at home. They don't need to come to the office like they used to. If you want that talent, and you want to retain that talent, and you want to reach the holy grail of trust among your colleagues, you need to use the two tools in your tool belt. One, compassion, the other, accountability, together. I want to give you an example of compassionate management that I experienced. So I go to this pharmacy. It's this, even though it's in New York City, it's this tiny little mom and pop pharmacy. It's very cute. Frank runs it, he owns it, and he had this sort of office manager, front desk lady, the one who, you know, cashier. She was a delight. She was so much fun. We would laugh, we would talk. She retired. Good for her. A new person came in, and wow, was she a curmudgeon. She was edgy, she was defensive, and I'll tell you what happened. So I came in and I said, hey, I'm here to pick up my prescription, and I also want to talk to Frank about something. And she said, what? What is it? What do you need? And I said, I just want to ask, you know, Frank, because he's the pharmacist, and what? It's my job to not, waste his time. What do you need? So I said, oh, that's okay. I'll just wait until he's free. And I just sort of backed down and pulled away, because a few minutes later, Frank came out and he's like, hey, Rena, how you doing? I said, hey, can I ask you a quick question? And we go over to the side a little bit, and I say, does this interact with this? Whatever my question was, he answers it, and then I say, Frank, I have a question. How's your new person working out? And he's like, well, and I said, yeah, she's a little angry. And he said, yeah, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, I teach compassionate management. Can I share with you what I'm picking up on? And he said, well, sure. And I said, I think she's afraid. I think she's afraid if she doesn't know the answer to every single question, she will be fired. And he said, but she's not a pharmacist. And I said, well, I know that, and you know that. But I think if you decided to have a conversation with her to clarify what the expectation is, that she have good interpersonal skills, that she answer the questions that she can, that she own what she doesn't know, it might take her defensiveness down. And he said, is that what's going on? I'll try it. 2 days later, I come back to ask another question. I walk in and she goes, Rena, how are you? She's my best friend now. I'm not kidding. So this is compassionate management. Frank went and said to her, you don't need to know everything. You do need to be polite. You don't need to have all the answers. In fact, it would be dangerous for you to have all the answers because you're not a pharmacist. You do need to know when to call me and when not to. And he clarified compassion and accountability. She's so happy, and she is completely successful there now, and probably going to go to school to be a pharmacist. So that is compassionate management at work. There's a lot of talk these days of millennials, baby boomers, Gen X, this cross-generational communication, how the brains don't work the same, and you know what? They don't. They don't, and that's okay. What is the challenge is, well, how am I supposed to help them understand each other? And you know what? We all need to learn each other's languages. At the same time, Compassion is a universal language. Universal. Not only does it work cross-generationally, it works cross-culturally, cross-gender, cross-sexuality, cross-religion, cross-ethnicity. Name a diversity statistic, and I will tell you, compassion works. Imagine, I've arrived in Germany, I don't speak any German. I'm walking down the street and somebody's carrying a big bag and trying to get into the store and fumbling, and I walk over and I say, "Here you go," in English. And she goes like this, "Dankeschön," and keeps walking. That's compassion. So that's the compassion piece that works across every language, every generation, every human being. And then I want you to think about where in your life, do you revert to fear? Because it's very natural. You know, if I have somebody working on a project for me, and I know that he has a history of doing really outstanding work, but always going beyond deadline and over budget, I have a choice. Do I walk up to him and say, "Are you done? Are you done? Are you going to get it done on time? Are you going to be on budget?" Because that's my fear speaking. Or I can go up to him and say, "Hey, you know, it's due on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. Do you have everything you need to get it done on Tuesday? Because it must be done on Tuesday, non-negotiable." Which one is going to be more effective to help him get the job done? Compassion and accountability. How about my parenting style? How about my romantic relationship style? How about my friendship style? How about the PTA or the soccer team? Whatever it is, compassionate management works across the board. So I ask you, where in your life can you start building that flag? And I do this because it's right here, right near the heart, is that flag of, oh my God, catch myself, I'm reverting to fear, and how can I first find compassion for myself? Oh God, I'm working with this designer who's so talented, but always goes over budget and over time. No wonder I'm feeling stressed. Okay, I have compassion for myself, and now I'm gonna have compassion for him. He loves doing great, great work. And I love that about him. That's why I hired him to do it. Now that I've got all this compassion, and I'm no longer angry or filled with fear, I can reach out to him with compassion and accountability and get it done. So I ask you to think about where in your life do you revert to fear and anger and rage? Because it's much more painful to stick with the truth and find compassion, but the return on the investment is endless. And on that note, I say good luck, go for it, and thank you.